Hi, everyone. Welcome to your check-in with Gwen. I'm your host, Gwendolyn McLemore, and I am very, very grateful that you're here. During our time together, I will be sharing tips, thoughts, and words of encouragement as you seek to build a system that actually works for your life. Here, we will actually check in and discuss how to change, how to navigate in an ever-changing world. This is the first episode, so I'll give a little background, information about myself. Professionally, I am a small business owner. I'm a counselor, executive function coach, and I have more than 15 years of experience in behavioral health. Personally, I'm a Black woman from Philly. I'm the eldest sister of too many to count, and I'm a really good person to talk to and do crazy shit with. This podcast is not your usual self-help advice. I'm not going to be telling you to meditate. It's a very helpful practice, but it's just not the most helpful start. We will be using psychology, spirituality, astrology, ebonics, humor, all the tools to make this information digestible for everyone. So if you're still here watching, thank you. And if you've left already, oh well, you're missing out and you can't beat me. It's like, I'm still playing with the format. So these episodes won't be purely information. I'll also be giving my opinion on real world events, but I will also be teaching you some skills and mindsets that you can incorporate into your life. This first episode is very near and dear to my heart. We will be discussing the mental skills that finally made me feel comfortable enough to put myself out here. So first, I'm going to model our type of checking in. When we check in, we will be utilizing the 5 domains of health. All that means is we check in physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, and spiritually. Then I'm going to try to provide you a tip each episode. I'm laying this part out because people often ask questions like, how are you doing? But there are too many ways to answer that question, so you don't really get an accurate picture. Each week, I will break it down and teach you how to operationalize our healing. How do we actually build a system to heal, not just one activity at a time? Let's get into it. This is how I check in with clients. This is how I check in with everyone. Physically, your girl is tired, okay? I am currently participating in dry January, so no alcohol. I'm also one of those new year, new me type of people, so I've been trying to get a regular gym routine. I am managing to get some healthy amounts of sleep right now, which is not my normal, so that's awesome. Mentally, I am excited. I am also slightly nervous. I think I feel focused and clear-headed, which is nice. I'm also just being very particular about certain things that I'm doing. Socially, I can say that I am lacking a bit. I haven't made myself readily available for friends and family. I think I'm very invested in making this project pop. Emotionally, I'm feeling calm. I think I'm going to share the same thing as mentally. I'm feeling admiration for myself. I'm feeling happy. I'm feeling nervous. Not today, but I often will bring my big emotional wheel. That way we can really dive into the feelings part of it. And then spiritually, I am feeling weary as fuck. Honestly, the energy and the amount of suffering in the world right now is creeping in, and I'm acknowledging it, right? I'm allowing myself to know that it's real. I think that people are gaslighting themselves right now because if they acknowledge how heavy the world feels, how heavy their spirit feels, I think it can lend itself to feeling hopeless. And that's very valid, but there is also a way to transmute it, right? Like the heaviness of the world has been my motivation in getting this project started. It doesn't make it any less scary. I'm acknowledging, like, no, this is a different type of energy I'm feeling. And so yeah, it's real. We will get through this time. A statement that I say often is that we have all made it through the worst days of our life thus far. If you are watching this or listening to this right now, every worst day of your life, every amount of pain that you didn't know how you would make it through, every amount of fear and anger and frustration that you felt, you've made it through. you've beat every worst day of your life so far. This is something I have to tell myself often, especially when I'm not feeling motivated to engage in certain healthy practices. I like to bring it back to the foundation, which is gratitude. I wake up every day expressing gratitude for life. Even if I don't like my life at times, I wake up and say, thanks for giving me another chance. I think that that is a very spiritual act, and it's an act that anyone can do. You can say thank you for your breath. Thank you for water. Thank you for sunlight. Thank you for a device to watch and listen to this on. Just thank you for another chance to change my life. Every day you have a chance to change your life. With that, I hope that check-in gave you a model to follow so you can check in with your loved ones. You can check in with strangers. Ask about those 5 areas. Now that the check-in is complete, we are going to be talking about the namesake of this episode. This episode is entitled Cursive. Once it's done, I hope you understand why. So today we will be discussing a psychological term called self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is the belief in one's ability to succeed in specific situations or accomplishing tasks. Self-efficacy influences how people approach their goals, how we approach our challenges. Self-efficacy is directly related to someone's motivation or their resiliency, their ability to bounce back off of things. This term was created by a psychologist named Albert Bandura, and he defines it as people's belief in their ability to control their functioning in the events that affect their lives. So you can't always control the outcome, but this belief that you have an impact on your outcome will go very far. People's self-efficacy is developed by 4 sources. It's the mastery of experiences. Basically, have you accomplished something before? Anything. Your vicarious experiences. Have you watched someone accomplish something? I think social media gives people higher self-efficacy because we watch people do these great things. Right? Social persuasion also impacts your self-efficacy. How did the social environment around you impact your belief that you can get something done? And then lastly, your emotional state impacts your self-efficacy. How you're feeling directly correlates to how much you believe in yourself. So this episode, this title came to mind while I was journaling, like years ago, actually. I was writing and I looked at the page and I realized I tend to write in cursive all the time, right? That lets you know I'm an old bitch. Yeah, I tend to write in cursive all the time. But then I thought harder on it and I realized I've loved writing in cursive almost my entire life since I was a small child and I learned how to write. I'm going to share this story, and this is an example of self-efficacy in action. And so when I was in first grade, I was in Miss Bennett's class, right, in a small town in New Jersey. She had the letters going around the classroom, like a border of writing. And so there were letters in print, and then there were letters in cursive. And she introduced what cursive was. Right? We were all in a big group on a big piece of paper on the floor. You have to think this is first grade. There's maybe like 20 kids in the classroom. And she's talking to us like this is what cursive is. So this girl, her name was Ebony, she raises her hand like, I already know how to write in cursive, right? I can do this. So I was quiet back then. I'm not as quiet now. But I was quiet when I was younger. And she was like, my uncle taught me how to do this. I can write in cursive. And lo and behold, she writes the word Lee, Lee, right? And she writes it. And I'm just like, wow, she can do it, you know? And the teacher gives her praise and the class has a moment about it. We all are doodling all over the paper, and then it's like a free period. We get a break. And as I'm sitting there and I'm looking at this Lee on the paper, I'm just like, I can do this. I can do this. Doesn't look that hard, right? Like I'm tracing over it with my fingers, and I'm like, I can do this. I can write Lee. And so I go to a corner of the paper and I write it maybe like 7 or 8 times. The day goes on. It's fine. A kid in the class notices all the different Lees. right? All over the paper. And then like the classroom of reps, who did this? Like it's so excitable, right? It's just this discovery, like, oh, someone else can write in cursive. After about a minute or so of watching everyone get excited and treat it as like a positive moment, I like timidly raised my hand and said that I wrote it, right? They went crazy. They went crazy. It was like the Eagles winning last year. We won't talk about this year, but the class went crazy. And I was so proud of myself. I was so proud of myself. I didn't think about that probably for 25 years. I haven't thought about that story. But the wave of pride and just acknowledgement that I felt, the feelings came from the acknowledgement of my peers, right? That social perception, that social environment. But the pride came from the fact that I did it unprompted. I did it unassisted. And that small moment of self belief led to a lifelong habit of doing something that I enjoyed. And it's very silly, but my affinity for cursive ties directly into self efficacy. The fact that I was able to believe in myself in that moment shaped something for the rest of my life. And I share that with you because we see examples of self efficacy always around us. Another common example of self efficacy is if you know someone in your family that like cooks a signature dish, right? Even if that dish isn't their original recipe, what happens is that if the world responds favorably to something, as human beings, we tend to want to reproduce that feeling. And if we believe in ourselves, if someone believes in themselves enough to try the recipe again and you get the same result, then you start to believe, I can make this dish. And if you play that pattern out enough, it turns from self efficacy to self confidence. Now I know I'm good at this dish. I know I'm good at writing in cursive. I offer you this because I want you to think about one of your favorite, most triumphant moments in life, something that you do that you are just good at. It happens automatically. I bet you it relates to this concept. And I'm offering this tip about self efficacy because it comes in handy when you don't like yourself. It comes in handy when you don't have feelings of self love, right? Sometimes when your self esteem is low, self efficacy is a tool to bring it up higher. And it can be something very simple, like writing or cooking or decorating or wearing your hair a certain way or wearing a particular outfit that gets you compliments. Like, there are so many ways to build self efficacy into your life. That way you can increase those positive self feelings. I'm bringing this up because I want to normalize how it's okay that you can't encourage yourself. I think you should try to lean on self belief, self efficacy. Think of a time in your life where you believed in yourself enough to try, because that's the first step. So, with this podcast, I had to believe in myself enough to put it out there. And it took some time. It took some time. I had to remember all the times that I accomplished something, whether that was starting a business, whether that was being the first person in my family to go to college, whether that was cutting off a friend that I never thought I'd be able to cut off, whether that's shaving my head, whether that's changing anything about myself. Self efficacy is a first step. And it's a great tool to have. I am sending you this because I already believe in you. I believe that everyone can build the life that they want to have. It may take 1 year, it may take 1 day, it may take 40 years. You never know, right? But you can, if you believe in yourself enough, create a life that you love living. I believe in you already. I am sending you love and light and gratitude for spending time with me. Please remember to check in with yourself and to be gentle while doing so. And I will be here to check in with you next week. Bye bye now.